This video is best viewed while following along in the lesson plan. Please pause the video now to open the attached file and follow along. In an attempt to demonstrate how we can adapt an existing lesson rather than start from scratch, I found a lesson on CPalms that I would like to use with my 5th graders. I chose this lesson to highlight the fact that we can use existing resources that showcase tried and true teaching practices and then integrate technology to further engage our learners, enhance the learning, and extend the learning opportunities beyond the 4 walls of our classrooms. It's important to note that while this lesson plan is aimed towards elementary students, the technology integration techniques are by no means limited in terms of grade level or content area. With just a little bit of creativity, you can produce lesson plans that fit the needs of 21st century learners. Let's get into it. In the lesson plan, using music and poetry to identify speaker voice and point of view, the suggested technology is heavily teacher-focused, limited to the teacher starting and stopping the audio clips of the chosen songs. If we reflect on the level of technology integration involved in the process so far, we'll see that this barely registers on the TIM at all. Unfortunately, this is where the integrated technology for this lesson ends, but we're going to change that. As we walk through the lesson plan, the teacher will begin by leading the conversation about music and how the music can change a person's mood. The teacher will then share the Beatles' "Can't Buy Me Love" while asking the students to close their eyes and listen. The teacher should then open the floor to the student questions regarding the song and then lead the conversation to how the song made the students feel, helping to highlight the mood, have them think about the singer's tone, and make a list of words and phrases for mood and tone. Teachers will then have the students put that list out of view and then play the same song performed by Ella Fitzgerald, while following the same discussion steps from before. The same process will then be completed a 3rd time with Michael Bublé's version. Following this activity, students will write an exit slip that provides a summary of each rendition that highlights the tone and mood of the song with evidence. Following the teacher-led introduction and conversation, the teacher is prompted to ask students if they could tell the difference between a fancy lawyer and a rapper. This is done to lead a discussion about how people may sound different and utilize a different vocabulary based on their perspectives and life experiences, and how that affects the way they see the world. The teacher will then pass out the poem, "The Spider and the Fly," for students to read in groups, allowing the opportunity to document and define words they don't understand. After sufficient time, the teacher will pull the students together to discuss the poem and ensure students understand what was read and to model proper fluency. Students will then reread the poem individually, using 2 different color writing utensils that will be used to mark words indicating tone in one color and to highlight how the character's point of view is influencing the tone. Classroom will then be pulled back together to discuss the spiders and flies' point of view and how they are different, how the student knows, and what evidence is for how they know. Students will then complete a T-chart with a partner, with one side representing words used by the spider, and the other side will represent the words used by the fly, each side representing how the words affected the tone of the story. Students will then think, pair, share their T-charts with groups other than their own. During independent practice time, students will use information gathered from this lesson to illustrate how the trait of voice identifies a character's point of view and how their point of view influences the story. Students will then write a brief description using their notes to describe the thinking behind their illustration. For the assessment piece, students will select a voice card and create a story that utilizes their chosen voice or tone. As an extension activity, the teacher will ask students to bring in newspaper articles that highlight specific tones. Teachers can also share read-alouds with a strong tone. Also, students can rewrite their summative assessment story from a different point of view. I'd like to highlight some areas of concerns, as well as talk about some of the opportunities we have for integration and growth. Overall, this is a comprehensive lesson plan that will likely meet the needs of a number of selected standards. However, its delivery leaves very much to be desired in modern classrooms. We're going to change that. Together, we'll focus on a few specific areas in which this lesson can be modified to meet the needs of our learners. We'll break it down into the following categories: whole group and mini lesson, independent practice and small group, student reflection, student product, assessment and extension opportunities, and accommodations for learners with specific needs. Now that we've previewed the entire lesson plan, let's get started with bringing this lesson into the 21st century so we can better serve the unique needs of today's learners.